to work with Wix. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Today, our webinar will be about web design, and we're going to focus on lightboxes and columns. My name is Yotam. I'm a web designer at Wix for almost 4 years now. I'm based in New York City, moved here last November, so I'm super excited to be here talking to you. I know you're all excited about it, and me as well. So I hope to be as clear as possible. You'll have some time for question in the end. So it's going to be around half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm going to do this demo for you. So please pay attention to all the details. A little bit more about myself. I'm a bachelor in graphic design, specializing in web design. And for now, I'm a leader and mentor on the program of the Wix Playground in New York City. As you can hear, I'm pretty excited to be here. Okay, let's focus on the topic today. And me and the studio team back in Tel Aviv chose for you to focus on lightboxes and columns with this template that you see here in the background, this amazing template. Let me scroll here and show you our features. We'll walk through slideshow box that you might know. I'll teach you how to customize it. And columns with the slideshow box inside. And other columns. All right. Our goal today is to build this almost from scratch and the main parts. So this is what I'm going to do in the next couple of minutes. But also, I want to talk with you about design and professional working environment, which the editor allows us. So we'll dive into that the moment I finish to build everything for you. Okay, ready? Let's just start. So from here, you know that you can edit this site directly. So I can press this and go to the site, but I chose to show you today how to build it from scratch. So let me move to the next tab, and you'll recognize this, right? The editor with the toolbars and everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is changing the background. Easy as that. Remember that you can always put a video, an image, in this case, our color. So we've started. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my logo. For that, I'm choosing to use a button. All right. So I'm just going to choose a text button. Change the text for it. My design studio. Of course, you can choose whatever you want. And our first feature for today is pin to screen. So with the right click, I'm going to choose pin to screen. A pop-up will show up to set my position. So you can see like there's a 9 grid here. I can choose my position. In this case, I will choose the top left corner. And of course, I can adjust it to my needs with those sliders here, or of course, with numbers. I like to work with numbers so I can remember later on what I did. Great. So now I have a button. If I go to preview, I have a button with a hover. That's my Design Studio logo. Awesome. First feature we want to talk about today is the slideshow box. Under interactive, I have a few options. So as you can see, Wix offers us many different designs that are already made. But remember that each design I'm choosing, I can customize it to my needs. See that we have different sections here, full width and boxes. I will choose the box. And let me choose this design, which is simple and clean. And remember, we need to transfer this design into this one. Great. Let me close this and this. Okay. I'm starting with changing the arrows and changing those buttons. Under the layouts button, I have an option to show and hide my navigation buttons. And of course, change its color. That's under design. I don't want to use the buttons, so I can just hide them. Awesome. Now let's change the arrows. Under design, I have a few presets. So I can choose this type of arrows and I can change their color. So buttons I took out and I have my arrows, so I can change them to white. Now going back to the layout, I have a full control and customization of my size of the arrows. So I can make them smaller and I can make them offset outside the box. This is great. Like on my original design, I don't want the arrows to be so far away from my grids. So I can just make the slideshow box smaller. And let's check it's in the middle. And now all I have to do is change the images, right? So I have 3 slides. I don't need the text in this one. So I just need to make a duplicate of this slide. If I'm going to manage slides, I can just delete slide and third slides. Now I can just duplicate, after erasing those 2, I can just duplicate my first slide, change its name to whatever I want, whatever is comfortable for me to remember. So far, so good. So let's go back to the first slide and I'll change its image. So remember, like changing your background or your strips, changing the background is pretty easy and I can choose whatever I want. Color, image, video. I'll use an image here. I'll choose this image for the first one. And I use another one for the next. They could be in many different sizes. In this case, if I want to eliminate the white background, I can click here and choose my original background of the website. I'm choosing the colors from my site colors and not from here because I want it to be consistent. Great. Moving on to the last slide, changing the image here to the last image. Great. Can make it bigger and make sure it's in the center. So let's preview what we did. After the logo, I've added the slideshow box. The image is loading. And also here. I can see that the white background here is still showing, so I can change it easily by going again over here and changing it into orange. Now it looks transparent. So let's have one more look. First image, second image, and third. You see that little jump? Under my settings, the slideshow is set on automatically playing, autoplay. So I can just switch this off. Now, when I preview one more time, the images will be still. And I can play around with the arrows. Great. So slideshow box, pretty easy. Let's move to the next fold. And my next fold is just text. So I'm going to copy it from here. And I'm going to do something that will help us later to understand. So I'm going to use a strip to put my text in. I'm choosing a strip and I'm scrolling all the way down to the black strip, classical one. I can adjust it to my needs, change its color. And I'm going to place a text box. Super simple. I'm going to use heading 4. Change the text alignment into center and change it to white. Before I'm pasting my text, I want to make sure I have enough boundaries and that my box is centered. All I have to do is paste the text. See how easy is that? The text box is attached to the strip. So no matter what happened, if I drag and drop the strip, the text will be in it. Great. That was super simple. You all know that, I'm sure. Moving on to the next feature, I'm going to add another strip, and I'm going to show you how from a blank strip I can create columns. Columns is a really cool feature which allows me to divide my site into different grids and different sections and segments. So again, I'm going back to strip, and let's use the same one. Okay, so it will be easy to understand. So I'm just choosing the classic one, the black one. Okay, let's make it a little bit larger. Awesome. Now in one click, when I choose my layout, I can just add a column to it. Now I won't see it because they're both black. So what I want to do is I want to start with changing the column background. The same system with all of our features. I can just choose the color, change it to white, and choose the other column, change it to this light orange. Great. Now all I have to do is place the images. So remember, I have one image here, and I have another slideshow box, which is smaller than this slideshow box, and it's transparent with 3 different images and 3 different positions on the page. It kind of looks like a GIF, right? Let me show you how to do it. Let's close this one. Okay, so let's start with the easiest. I'm going to image, and I'm going to upload my own image. This is the first image. Let me adjust it a little bit so it will fit the design and the size. You can make it a little bit bigger. Make sure that when you work with columns, you make sure that the images and all the text is on the boundaries of these 2 lines. This is my grid. Excellent. Now I want to add another slideshow box. So again, as a recap, I'm going to interactive, and let's use the same one, which is the simplest. I'm adding this one. I just want to make sure it's smaller. I'm going to move it to the center of the column. All right. Make sure it's adjusted to the column. Give me a moment here. All right, it is. So first thing I need to do, let's erase the other 2, as we did before, and stay with just one slide and change its design. I don't need the arrows, and I don't need the navigation buttons. I want to change its background to this light orange. So now it's fully transparent. I see those 2 text boxes, the leftovers from what I started. So I'm just going to erase them. Okay, now I have my slideshow with only one slide. Let's start with the title. So I'm copying the text. It will be faster. Just by Command C and Command V. Going back to the editor. I'm going to add another text box. I want to make sure it's inside the slideshow box. The text inside. Title is a bit too big, so I'll make it smaller. Play around with the text the way I want. Great. Now let's add the first image. So remember, we have a movement from left to right. This image starts and they go to this and the third one. So let's try to imitate that. Instead of going again to the add button and adding an image, I can just duplicate this one because it's already here. So with a shortcut on your Mac, it will be Command D, and on PC, it will be Control D. D for duplicate. You can just duplicate it and make it smaller. Put it in my first location will be on the left. Maybe make it a little bit bigger and change the image to the one I desire. Great. Now the first slide, I want to make sure that the title is above the image. So with the right click, I can go to Arrange, bring to front. Excellent. Now I can go to Manage Slides and duplicate the slide. This copy, I'm just going to move the image a little bit here and change the image to the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing with Manage Slides and duplicate this as well. Remember, I can change the name. Great. Now I'll change its position over here, and I can make it a little bit bigger if I want, and change the image. For a quick check, I can just slide over, and I want to make sure that they are faster. So for now, autoplay on loading is on. I want to keep that, and I want to do maybe 0.5 seconds in between. Let's check it out. Cool, right? Awesome. Okay. For our next feature, I just want to duplicate those two columns. Remember, there are two columns, but on one strip. I have a best practice for this. I can go to Zoom Out, have an overview of my site. When I click on this strip, I have this shortcut, Duplicate Section. And I can just duplicate and also play around with its position. So I can move this down and this one up. Great. Let's go back to the editor. Scroll down. I have another cool feature on columns. When I go to Manage Columns, I can click on them and I can say that I want column 2 to be on the opposite order of 1. So I can click on number 2 and push it to the left side. Now, for my next example, I'm not going to need the slideshow box. So I'm just going to check all of the components and delete it with the backspace. Our next strip will be with those 3 images. Let's start. Just going to change the background here into gray. Change the image to beautiful cake. And now I can duplicate the image and place it in the center, but let me show you a shortcut. I can just click on the column and then manage columns, and I can just duplicate the column and then delete number 3, so they'll be on exactly the same size, the same position. So all I have to do is change the image to this pigeon here and change the background to an image. Remember, you can customize everything. You can put a video here, an image, just a plain color, like you can do with every strip and every background of the site. Let's choose this flower here. And of course, if you want to change it and add a parallax effect, you can do that, or a reveal, or you can just leave it in none. Let's check parallax effect, how it works. So you preview the site. I just built those 4 different sections in just a couple of minutes. Great. So remember, this is how we started. And now all I have to do is show you how I can use the Lightbox as a menu here. The About section and my works. So this is going to be our next step. Going back to my editor, let's scroll back up. Now I want to start with a yellow box and attach it to the screen. So I'm choosing a yellow box, drag and drop it. I'm adjusting it to my location. And remember, let me do it a little bit longer. Remember, I need to use pin to screen of every element that is outside your grid. So I'm going to pin to screen and I'll position it on the center. And also, I'm not going to use any pixel. So it will be attached to the right margin of my site. Let's take a look. Great. Adjust also the size after I use pin to screen. Now let's add those two buttons. One button for about and one button for works. Going back to buttons, I'm going to choose this design. I'm going to change the text into about. I can rotate the button 90 degrees. And again, pin to screen, right click to the top right corner. Great. You know what? Let me go one step backwards. Before doing that, I can duplicate with Command D the button and change it into works. Now I can do both of them all together. It's easier to do it this way before attaching it to the corner of the screen with pin to screen, because then it's really hard to duplicate because the image is locked. The button is locked. Let's rotate this one as well. 90 degrees, and then pin to screen to the bottom corner. Great. Let's preview. I see that the hover is disappearing, so maybe I want to change the design. No problem. I can just do it here. Maybe choose a smaller font. I want it to be consistent. Great. Let's check it now. Now the hover is visible. I want to make sure that my viewers, when they hover over elements, the elements are not disappearing. Cool. Now when I click on About and Works, nothing will happen because we have to set the lightbox. Let's do that now. Back to my Add panel and menu. I'm scrolling down to Lightbox. And as you saw with strips and other elements, I have many different designs here I can choose from and customize it to my needs. Remember that the original goal of a Lightbox is to sell my site, sell products. If I have a store or if I want to gain more clients and I want to add them to my mailing list, okay? So these presets are about this content. I'm going to go and choose the subscribe sidebar, just adding it to my site. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to customize it into my About page. That's pretty easy. Let's start with the overlay background. I don't want to have any overlay. So under settings, I'm just going to take it to 0% color. I want to adjust this slider here, and I want to change its color. That's pretty easy. Let's choose the yellow. Excellent. And I want to erase those elements because I'm not going to need them on my About section, right? I'm going to adjust the design of my close button. I can choose designs, or I can stay with my design and just change its color. In this case, I'm going to use black. I can make it smaller or bigger, whatever I want. Let's copy the text from the original site. You see that I also have a contact form here. So basically, everything that you can add on your page, you can also add on your Lightbox. It's important to remember that. Okay, so I'm going to add a text. Just choose a paragraph. Place it here inside my Lightbox. Paste it and adjust the design to the text box. I want to make sure I don't have single words here. It looks funny on the design, so I can open the text box a little bigger. And I want to make sure I have the right spacing. Excellent. Now, let's just add a contact form. for my contact menu, and I'm going to drag and drop it into here. And of course, I can build whatever I want. So I'm just going to skip this part. I can adjust the design anytime. Maybe make it smaller. In this case, to maybe show some elements in the back. Excellent. After I'm happy with my design, I can preview. I see how it works, and I can close the lightbox. Now, I'm going back to the editor, and most of you are probably asking, how do I get back to the lightbox? Because it's not a page. So remember, I have the pages menu here, and under the second section, I have Lightboxes. I click on that, and I see my subscribe Lightbox that I created. I can change its name. What it's about. These are the old ones from the template. I can delete them. And under Lightboxes, I have my About that I just created. Now, all I have to do is connect my button that says About to this Lightbox. As simple as that. So I go back to my homepage, and I click on the button, and with the link icon, I just connect it to, sorry, not from the pages, from the Lightbox. I just connect it to my About. Great. Another important thing is to go back to your Lightboxes, and remember that I said that Lightbox are a pop-up feature to present your site or to sell your site. So under settings, it's very important to change the automatic display into no. Now I can go back to my homepage, preview the site, hover over the About button, and see how it works. Let's do the same thing with Works. So I'm going back to my editor. I can choose the Lightbox also here under all my pages. You go to the About, and under this menu, I can duplicate. Great. Let's call it Works. And so I want to distinguish between those two. So I want to make the background white. I want to add a gallery, but I still want to have the title in the same location. Let's call it My Works. Delete the contact form. Let's add a gallery. I'm going to choose the grid gallery. I want to adjust it. First of all, I want to select all of the default images and delete them. And I want to add my images. So I'm just going to choose a few. After selected my works, I want to make sure that I have a title for them and not the image name. So I'm just going to do it quickly. Paste. So remember, this is a good time to think about your copy and your content and whatever you want to present. Skip that part so you can focus on design. Great. Now I can adjust the layout by going to Settings, Layout. I can choose if I want to position the title underneath or over. For now, I don't see the title because it's probably white. If I want to crop my images or fit them on the original site, in this case, it's too messy. Let's keep it cropped. And I can choose how many images I show on one row and the spacing. Let's make it a bit more spaced. Cool. And I can choose, sorry for that. I can choose if to show a more button. In this case, I have only 6 works, so I don't need it. Great. So again, after I'm happy with my design of the layout, and remember that you can change to any layout you want, I'm going to the design, and I want to customize the background. So maybe let's choose this color. This is going to be on hover. And maybe I don't need the heart icon. So under settings, heart icon, I can just tick it off. Going back to my design, under text, I want to show a title. So for now, the title is black. I can align it to the center. And maybe now the font is too bold. So I can choose a different font and adjust the size to 16. Great. Let's check it out. So these are my works, and this is the hover. Remember that if I'm not happy with this design, I can also go back and change it. Let's try in this case to put the text over. Maybe I'm happier with the spacing here. Cool. Excellent. All I have to do is check that my works lightbox is set on no, so it won't pop up to my viewers and annoy them. And the other thing I need to check is going back to my homepage, that the works button is linked to the right lightbox, as I did with the about. Okay, let's check it out. I'm going to preview, and I click works, and it opens. Now, the only one thing I really need to do is connect those images into my portfolio, right? So I'm closing this, going back to the editor, going back to my Lightbox, going back to my media manager. So remember, the way you control the title on each image, you can add a link. So let's just start putting my pages. This would be this page, and so forth, and so on. Let's do just the first 3 ones. Excellent. Make sure that you do it with every other image you got on the gallery. And the last thing I need to do is going back to settings, and under settings, the gallery for now is just gonna open the images in expand. I wanna change it to a link opens. Let's see how the default behavior. So when I click on each image, it just opens it on an expand mode. And this is not the behavior I want to do. So again, going back to my Lightbox, on my gallery, going back to settings. So instead of open and expand, I can just choose a link opens. Remember that I link any image or every image to my desirable page. So now under preview, it will take me to the desirable page. Super cool. Okay, I want to make sure that I see this menu on all pages. So right click, show on all pages, and then, I choose all the elements. Show on all pages. This arranges and send to back. Now, when I'm going to the internal pages, need to check what up with that. So when I go into Works, I want to check if my settings. Okay, for some reason there was a bug here. I'm going to go back into Link Opens. I'm going to preview that, and then I see my menu in all pages. Remember, this is super important. So when your viewers or your clients' viewers are on this page and they want to go back to homepage or to Works, they always have their navigation. Excellent. So after building this site, I want to walk through with you step by step of some professional working environments. Great. Let's go back to my page. Okay. Let's start with strips. So remember, it's important to build everything on strips, like I did here. Why? Because I can always zoom out and change the position, like this. And even with this strip, when I select it, again, I zoom out, and I can move it backward, and I can always duplicate the section. Excellent. So that's one. I've used a lot of the keyboard shortcuts, which you can find under the Help section here, keyboard shortcuts, and you'll have the full list. Start practicing work with that. It will save you hours of work. Okay, so we talked about Control D and Command on your Mac to duplicate elements. If you already have this image or this strip, you can just duplicate it. Okay, if you want to delete, you can just use the delete button or the backspace. If you want to move items to arrange them forward and backwards, you can just use the keywords. This is super important. So you can print it out or just start to remember, and it will make your life easier. Rulers. So under my tools, I have the rulers, and this is an excellent feature that will help me to adjust my elements. So I could see that they are on the same pixel. In text, I would always use the baseline of the text. So for example, if I want to make another title here with the same parameters, wait 1 second. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this title. And I want to make sure that they are aligned. Great. That's rulers. Remember that you can just create any grid ruler that you want and adjust the number. So you can start with the 0 and go to 980 and have some borders. So this will be 960 and this will be 20. And if you want to hide them, just go back to your tools menu and hide the rulers. If you want to delete them, just choose one and press on the erase or recycle bin icon. Trash. Great. Let's hide them for now. Let's go over right click. So remember that every element, when I click on it, have this menu on it. So this slideshow have these elements, the text box have these buttons, the image have these buttons. So when I go to right click, all of these buttons are also shown here at this menu. So I can change image, go to the setting, go to the design, crop, filter, animation, and link for the image. So this is the top section of my right click. Okay, remember, I just clicked on the image and pressed right click. All of my shortcuts are also here. Undo, cut, copy, paste, copy design, duplicate. Okay, so I can control it. On this section here, I have the overlapping items, which means that I can select the layers that underneath this image, for example. So I see that I have an image, and I have column number 2 underneath, and a strip, and a page. So in case I have a strip on top of everything, I can choose whatever I want underneath that. Okay, and arrange is also super important. So for example, if I'm adding another element, let's say another title, and so let's put it on the page. And I'm going to put this into front. So the heading is underneath this slideshow box. I can always go to right click and arrange it to front. Okay, so this works with every element. And as I showed you for this menu, I can right click and show it in all pages. So when it's off, it shows only on this page, and when it's on, it's showing on all pages. So use the right click for every element. It's faster, and maybe you can discover new features here. Let's go over the toolbar. So under tools, I can open the toolbars. I can always open and close it here, and I can drag and drop it here. Okay, so on the top section, I also have all of my copy, paste, and erase and duplicate section, and I have alignments, which is super important. Let's say I'm adding this slideshow box, and it's not aligned to the center of the page. While it's clicked, I can just align it to the absolute center. Remember, you can also use those grid lines like this. When I want to align two sections to each other, let's add a title, the text, and I can choose, let's put it on my desirable position. Let's select two elements and align them together. You can group them together and then align them to the page. Afterwards, I can double click on each element and drag and drop it. Great. I can also distribute elements, and I can rotate. So for example, if I'm choosing the text, I can rotate here 45 degrees. Great. And I can also control its position here. Okay. And the size. So if I want to make this text box bigger, great. Same with images. If I want to make this image bigger, this one, and same with position. So that's pretty clear. I like the toolbar. It's always helping me to align and adjust elements. So I encourage you to use it. Cool. So we're almost done. We have some new features on mobile that I want to show you. So let's go into the mobile editor. Super important. So remember, the menu that I've added is not going to be shown on the mobile. Okay, these elements, because I already have the menu of the mobile. Okay, I just want to make sure that my design studio is here as the logo, and I just want to adjust and like design, customize my own mobile. If I want to make the text smaller, remember, a mobile is a totally different screen. Okay, so I can adjust my designs here and so on. Space even. I can delete this space if I don't need. So easy as that. Oops, sorry. Easy as that. I can just adjust my images and texts according to my needs. Some cool features on the mobile are my new action bar, which is I can add and get the clients calling me, email me, or Facebook. I can choose any other network. Another cool feature is the back to top button, which automatically will be on. So when I'm scrolling down, I'll get the button right here, and I can scroll back up. Cool. Let's go back to my new page. All right, now I want to show you a new feature, and which is the header. So I'm clicking on the header, and I have this new button here, change header scroll, and I have 4 options. So by default, my header is scrolled with the site. So let's preview that. Just a regular one. When I go back to the header, I can choose the second one, which is freezes. Okay, it means that my header will always freeze with my site. Remember, I can always go and customize the site, the size and the color of the header on the desktop. Next one. So you know what? Let's go do it now so we can see the other effects. Going back to my desktop, I'm going to change the header design. Instead of no color, I'm going to use my orange here. Okay, guys, sorry for that. We're near city, so I'm not sure if they're after me or it's just like another regular day. Let's go back to the mobile. Oh, maybe I want to get rid of the shadow. So under design, I'm going to customize it and eliminate the shadow. Okay. Now I got the menu here. I want to make sure that my button is always here. Okay. Something that I had to do in the beginning is making sure that my button is on the header. Great. Now I can see it. Of course, I can change the color of my menu if I want. I can customize everything I want. All right. Let's go back to the header effects. So I'm clicking the header, and as we discussed, we have the scroll with the site, we have the freeze. Let's see the new one disappears. We preview that, and I can see that there's a collapse in the header. It's pretty cool, right? Go back here and change it to fade out. So it will fade out while I'm scrolling. So play with it. It's a new feature. It's really cool. We like it. And it gives you 4 new total designs and behaviors for the header of your mobile. All right. So let's recap. And I think the most important thing today was the Lightbox. So our About page and works. But I want to show you some more examples. Under our Playground site, which all of you probably know by now, we also have the menu here that was built with a Lightbox. So I can go and check my awesome new templates. This is the one I showed you today, and other templates with this menu. And this is totally made by Wix. Pretty easy, right? Another example is you can use the Lightbox for its original use as a subscribe. So I can write my name here. and I can close it. Pretty cool, right? Also, let's move to another one. I have this grid-based template here, and I can see that some of the pages here, like the About Me page, is totally made by a Lightbox. But it's a page. It's not even a menu, right? And it's not a pop-up. So you can use it also for that. Also this page, right? So you can create one and duplicate it. And another cool example is this one, which is also a tutorial under the playground features. The menu, you can just use the minimum menu as here, and you can scroll to the feature works. That's a pretty cool site. All right, so let's go back to the original template and recap. We started this class by building the website here. So building the slideshow box easily, which you all know by now, and building the columns. Remember, columns are responsive, and you can change its background and images, and building those two lightboxes, about, and my works as a menu. It was pretty easy for me. I don't know about you. I encourage you to try it yourself if you haven't tried by now. And I think this is the time that we go into Q&A. So if you guys have questions, let me know. Okay, so Judy asked, how do you move a lightbox to another page? Okay, so the lightbox is not attached to any page. Lightbox is just a top layer of any page. So if I have the lightbox and I'm calling it from the home page, I'm just linking it, so it will show. All right. Oh, the team in Tel Aviv is telling me that you already got answers, so I didn't know that. Sorry for that. So if we're still on, I want to wish you guys good luck and follow our blogs and our media for some more cool tips and tutorials. And I hope to see you next time. So goodbye, and thank you for this opportunity to share this knowledge with you. Have a great day.